Hey there, welcome to the channel. My name is James, and here at 20th and 21st Movies, we are about all things cinema. All right, I wanted to come on here for a few minutes and share with you my thoughts on Women Talking. This is the 2022 film directed by Canadian filmmaker Sarah Polley, and it is a 2022 film that is one of the 10 films nominated for Best Picture in this year's Academy Awards. So I wanted a chance to check this film out. Of course, before I saw Women Talking on Amazon Prime the other night, I had only seen 3 of the Best Picture nominees up to this point, and that includes these 3 films right here. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, Top Gun Maverick, and Tar. So these are the only 3 films that are Best Picture nominees that I had seen up until this point. Now I've added the 4th film, and that is Women Talking from director Sarah Polley. And it is, in a nutshell, a very good film. I wanted to share with you my thoughts on this movie, and just, I know I've titled this video a review, but this is really my impressions of this film, having just recently watched this movie. And I do want to give a shout out to Sue at Movies and Sue for giving me the heads up that this movie was available on Amazon Prime. I watched one of her live streams recently and she said it was on Prime, and I jumped on it immediately because I want to watch as many of these Best Picture nominees as possible. Won't have a chance to watch them all, but Women Talking is one I have checked off the list, and I'm very happy that I did. It's available on Prime for a limited time. It says here it leaves Prime in 46 hours as of the time I'm recording this video. I believe it's going to be on Prime through March the 12th. So I'm glad I had a chance to watch it. I believe it's also a recent Blu-ray release. So that's another option to watch this film if you want to check it out. But just wanted to share with you what I think about this movie and just share with you my impressions of it. And I'll just say right off the bat, I'm really impressed with this film. I mean, there is a lot to like about this movie. So let me just give a quick setup of what this film is about. This movie is about a group of women who are part of a Mennonite colony. The Mennonites are a religious group similar to the Amish in that they shun modern technology, or at least most Mennonite groups do. The story takes place in 2010, and these women are part of this Mennonite colony. They are unfortunately the victims of sexual abuse by some of the men in the colony. These men are using drugs to basically cause these women to forget the extent of the abuse that they're inflicting on them. And the unfortunate thing about it is this story is based upon a true story that actually happened in Bolivia, in the Manitoba colony of Mennonites in Bolivia. That story was written about from writer Miriam Toews, and that story is the basis of the screenplay that Sarah Polley wrote for this movie. Women Talking is nominated for Best Picture, and Sarah Polley is nominated for Best Original Screenplay or Adapted Screenplay or what have you. So she's got a screenplay nomination, and the film is nominated for Best Picture. So it's got 2 Academy Award nominations. So we'll see what happens on March the 12th. But I have to say, I really enjoyed this film. These women are being abused, and they find out the extent of their abuse. And at that point, they're faced with a decision, a 3-pronged decision. Do nothing, stay and fight, or leave. Early on, they very quickly dispense with the idea of do nothing. They say, you know what? Doing nothing is not an option. It comes down to stay and fight or leave. And that is the whole, or really essentially the basis for most of the talking that goes on in this film. This film is called Women Talking. It's very appropriate because a lot of this film is this group of women talking about which way they should go and deliberating the decision and figuring out, should we stay and fight or should we go? And some women fall on either side of the camp. And so this film has a great cast. You have Rooney Mara, who plays Ona in this movie. Claire Foy plays Salome. You also have Frances McDormand. You have a wonderful cast in this movie. I mean, just so many wonderful characters in this movie that I just enjoyed the cast. Emily Mitchell played Miep. Kate Hallett played Audrey. You have Liv McNeil who played Neji. Just a wonderful cast. And I think they all did a fantastic job in terms of carrying this narrative and really spurring this debate, this back and forth debate. It sort of gave me a 12 Angry Men vibe watching this movie as they were deliberating the decision that was before them. Staying and fighting, or do we leave and chart our own path, a new future for ourselves? So that aspect of the film I found to be very fascinating. So it's a lot of talking in this movie, and I'm not sure if it's a movie that's for everybody because of that. So if you're looking for a high action, a lot of stuff flying around the screen and action characters kicking and, running around. If you're looking for that type of film, this is probably not going to be for you. But if you're open to a contemplative, thinking man's type of a film that gives you a lot to think about and really makes you think and process what is going on, this is definitely a film you ought to consider. And it is a film that really deals with some really deep issues in terms of what it means to be a human being, what it means to be a woman, what is our place in the world, what is our place in the world, because they're trying to figure out what is their place in the world as women and as human beings. But because they're part of this Mennonite community, they literally have never even seen a world map. So they don't even really geographically know where they are in the world. So there's this idea of them trying to figure out their place in the world, but then also just frankly, just understanding geographically, where are we in the world, having never seen a world map. I found that really fascinating. I think one of the biggest areas of fascination for me was the way that this film was shot. I think this film was shot just so beautifully. It's not really black and white photography. It's almost like a sepia tone. It is specifically shot in a way to give it that period look and to give it that gothic type look. And it's almost like a muted color palette throughout most of the runtime. You do have some scenes where the colors are more present, but for a good part of this film, during a lot of the deliberations with these women in this enclosed barn, it's really shot in this dark sepia type tone that really puts you in that mood that you're in that time and place with these women. And I just found that to be very fascinating. I really enjoyed that. The cinematographer was Luc Montpellier, and he used a gothic inspired color palette. There's a fair amount of humor in this film. I mean, these women are talking about very serious subject matters of the abuse that has been inflicted upon them and the serious decision that they're having to make as a result of it. But even in that serious environment, there is some nice humor sprinkled in there. So I thought that was really interesting. So most of the film has to do with these women deliberating the difficult choice they have to make. But one of the biggest characters in this film, character's name is August, and he's played by Ben Whishaw. And he is basically a school teacher who is a failed farmer who is in the barn house with these women who are deliberating, and he's sort of their scribe, writing down the pros and cons of each of the decisions, for them. So what's the pros and the cons of staying and fighting? And what are the pros and cons of leaving? So he's taken up the task of writing that down for them and helping them make the decision that they have to make. So I found this movie to be really fascinating in terms of the story. I think it's very well written. I think it's extremely well acted by all the actors in this film, both older actors and younger actors. The cinematography is absolutely fantastic. It is a beautifully shot movie. The color palette and the way this film was presented is very impressive. So I really enjoyed this movie. So let me know in the comments section below if you've seen Women Talking. I just wanted to come on here and share with you my impressions. It's not really a really formal buttoned up type review. It's just me kind of stream of consciousness talking about what I thought and felt about this movie. And I really enjoyed this film. I'm still processing it and still sort of, wrapping my head around the themes that are discussed in this film, because this film definitely gives you a lot to think about. It's just the kind of movie that if you're in the mood for a film like that, I think you'll enjoy this movie. And I say it that way because I don't know if this is a film for everybody. If you want something that's more, characters running around and fast and furious, cars flying everywhere or whatever, if you're in the mood for a high octane action adventure, Women Talking is not going to give you that. But if you're in the mood for a deep thinking film that really gives you a lot of concepts and ideas to think about, what it means to be human, what it means to be, for these women, what it means to be women, what is their place in the world. They're living in this very repressed society where their rights are basically suppressed. So how do they process that and figure out, what they want to be in the world? And so I just found that very fascinating and really enjoyed it. And I don't know of any other films from this director, but I'm definitely inspired to explore more of Sarah Polley's work. So there you have it. That's my impressions on Women Talking. I can definitely see why it earned an Academy Award nomination for Best Picture. I do not expect it to win, but I think it is definitely deserving of a nomination. Based on what I've seen, I wouldn't mind seeing Sarah Polley win for screenplay. I think that would be a great award for this film to capture. But I think there's another film that is in play for a very big night come Sunday night, March the 12th. I'm not gonna say what it is, but I think this particular film is gonna have a very historic night here very soon. So, but anyway, I think Women Talking is a very, very good film, and I can definitely recommend it if you're up for this type of a movie. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. Have you seen Women Talking? If so, what do you think about it? And let me know what some of your favorite Academy Award Best Picture nominees are in the comment section below. If you've seen other films nominated for Best Picture, let me know what you think about those films in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time at the movies. Peace.